Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is the Friday news dump. That's right, the weekend is almost here. So let's celebrate by covering all the news stories we possibly can. Not really, but some news stories, some headlines. For the end, before we're gone for the weekend. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter podcast comprehensive news of planet Earth, where we look at the news 10 to 15 minutes before we start without any caffeine in our body. What are in our headlines today? Today on Before Coffee, Prince Harry. I was anxious about 30. I'm excited about 40.
And grieving Springfield parents tell politicians to stop using their song in their hate towards immigrants. And in good news, Jon Bon Jovi saves a woman on a bridge.
Sinaloa cancels Independence Day celebrations as cartel violence continues in Mexico.
In labor news, Boeing goes on strike and China is raising its retirement age by 5 years.
Culture news, why do we fear Friday the 13th?
And it's National Blame Someone Else Day. So it wasn't me, it's not my fault. It was like that when I got here. It was them immigrants that done it. On Friday the 13th, September 13th, 2024, on Before Coffee.
That's right, it's Friday the 13th, something that only happens twice a year. The next one's going to be in December, by the way. I already looked it up. So, no Friday the 13th in October this year. But we got it early in September and late in December. So, our first story is actually going to be about age. I know a lot of fellow millennials out there, and I'm sure fellow whatever Roger is, whatever he is, baby boomer / Gen X in-betweeners, have already experienced this idea of aging. Yes, and especially I think Gen Z are now coming up on turning 30 and how it's not that scary. Prince Harry, of course, was pretty anxious about turning 30, but he's feeling great about his 40s because he's discovered age is just a number in some cases. It doesn't mean that much. This is from Daniela Ralph on the BBC. And that's why I wanted to talk about this story, because of the whole age. You guys don't have to have a panic attack when you turn 30. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex visited Nigeria in May as part of celebrations for the anniversary of the Invictus Games. I was anxious about 30. I'm excited about 40, the Duke of Sussex has said ahead of his birthday this weekend. In a statement to the BBC, Prince Harry said, "Whatever the age, my mission is to continue showing up and doing good in the world." He plans to celebrate his 40th birthday on Sunday, which is September 15th. With his family in California before heading off on a break with a group of his closest friends. The prince also spoke about the importance of his children, Archie 5 and Lilibet 3. "Becoming a father of two incredibly kind and funny kids has given me a fresh perspective on life, as well as sharpening focus in all my work," the prince said in a statement released by his spokesperson. "Being a dad is one of life's greatest joys. It has only made me more driven and more committed to making the world a better place." The past 10 years have been a turbulent time for Prince Harry, filled with significant change. He turned 30 in 2014, the year after returning from his second tour with the British Army in Afghanistan. He previously revealed in his memoir he had been going through a bad moment after he returned, suffering periods of lethargy and terrifying panic attacks. Yeah, it must be crazy to go from something like the Army, which kind of gives you a very tunnel vision goal in life, do these things, listen to my commanding officer, serve the country, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, all right, you're free to go. Okay, what the fuck do I do now? I'm free to do what? What am I supposed to be doing? I'm 30 and I have no idea. I just left. So he was just sitting around, probably in depression. He was suffering periods of lethargy. Sounds like he was probably depressed. And he was like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to do now? I've left the army. Prince Harry found the Invictus Games the year he turned 30, which he had previously said was a response to the shock of seeing casualties in the war and his feeling that the public were not fully aware of the reality of conflict. Yeah, I guess more people need to watch war documentaries. God. Also, a few months before he turned 30, he and his then girlfriend, Cressida Bonas, split up. So he was going through a lot of things back when he was 30. Prince Harry, who is the fifth in line to the throne, met Meghan in 2016, so that's 2 years after his existential crisis, and moved from the UK to California in 2020, leaving behind his life of working as a royal. The fallout with his family has been acrimonious in public, and there are no signs of reconciliation. In recent weeks, there had been speculation that Prince Harry was looking at a permanent move back to the UK. Those who know him well have ruled that out, saying he's happy and settled in California. It is understood he would like to spend more time in the UK working with the organizations he supports, but security remains a sticking point. A legal wrangle with the Home Office over the level of police protection received in the UK is ongoing. In May, Prince Harry made a solo visit to London to work with a number of charities, and it is understood he was offered a place to stay in a royal residence but turned it down, believing his location would become obvious and compromising his ability to move around the city safely. But he will feel the pull of the UK strongly in years ahead. Approaching 30, Prince Harry giving a speech in March 2014 when he launched the Invictus game, and these games were for injured servicemen and women, and it was Prince Harry's vision when it began 10 years ago in London. Invictus remains a personal passion, and it returns to the UK in 2027 when Birmingham hosts the games. He described it to me as his first child. It's a very important thing, and he's totally committed. Dominic Reed, the outgoing chief executive of the Invictus Game Foundation, told, "I think it speaks very deeply to the soldier in him. A 40th birthday can be a time of reflection. Prince Harry appears to be heading towards the milestone in an optimistic frame of mind. His statement to the BBC ends on a positive note. Bring on the next decade," he says, as he prepares to celebrate on Sunday, the 15th. So, there you go. Even from that kind of existential crisis of, oh God, what am I doing with my life? He was able to pull out something a lot of people over the world celebrate. And some people don't even know he invented it or came up with the idea, right? There's a lot, I've seen it on social media, right? So that's a very select amount of people. But I've seen people on social media going, wait, Prince Harry, that guy who's always in the news because he's married to an American, invented the Invictus Games? I love the Invictus Games. I had no idea some British royal invented that, because he probably had the money to start it. To all the tax money he was able to invest in the Invictus Games. But it's a great game. It's a great way to celebrate and give honor to those people who not only served their country, but in some cases took a permanent injury serving their country. So I do think a lot of people don't understand what happens in wars, and even though the violent like Call of Duty and those kind of games get a lot of hate from non-gamers, I think they're a great representation of what it can be like, a great immersive experience of what it's like to be in a war, in combat, in the army, without actually, getting your leg blown off. Though I think in some cases you can get your leg blown off in those games.
One things video games don't simulate is how much training you go through with all these people that you're fighting with, and how much responsibility you have for them. That's never really simulated in a video game.
I can only speak of one example right now, but there is a game where you go through the entire game with this commanding officer, right? You get really attached to him, and I think he ends up sacrificing himself and for you to get you on a helicopter or something. I'm like playing it, but there are characters in the game that you can get attached to, right? But yeah, there isn't an actual boot camp sequence in any of these games. That would be very interesting and actually immersive, boot camp experience.
Nobody's showering together. Nobody's sleeping together.
Having to go to the bathroom in an open toilet with anything to hide you, right? Shitting in front of everyone.
No privacy whatsoever.
No privacy. Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe somebody's made that game. I haven't played all of the military sims out there, but maybe that game is.
But it's still a simulation. It's not really the same, right?
Yeah. It depends on how empathetic you can get. But that's my story. Don't give up on your life just because you're 30, or in this case, turning 40. And back to your story, or onto your story.
It's like the old joke that a long time ago, I think I saw it in a movie. Somebody said they had Vietnam War movie. Not withdrawals, what's the word? Flashbacks. I have Vietnam War movie flashbacks. Not Vietnam War itself flashbacks. Vietnam War movie flashbacks. Anyway. Okay, so we're going to talk about... yesterday we talked about some parents who Trump was talking about that had their child murdered. He says, stop using our child. Of course, today we have another set of parents, and it's about the Haitian controversy in Springfield, Ohio. This is from the ColumbusDispatch.com. Grieving Springfield parents ask politicians to stop the hate towards Haitian immigrants. Amid a heated conversation about Haitian immigration in Springfield, the father of an 11-year-old boy accidentally killed by a Haitian immigrant urged the community to stop the hate. Springfield has been in headlines and mentioned in Tuesday's presidential debate after Defendant Jay Trump and the GOP vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance claimed without evidence that the Haitian immigrants had been abducting and eating cats and dogs in the city. Hermanio Joseph, an immigrant from Haiti, was driving a minivan and struck a Northwestern local school bus that overturned in 2023. Aiden Clark died after being ejected from the bus, and more than 20 other students were injured in the crash. Why don't buses have seat belts? I've always wondered that. That's a travesty. They make cars have seat belts. Why don't buses have them? Seems like a no-brainer. Anyway. Joseph was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and vehicular homicide and sentenced to a minimum of 9 years in prison and a maximum of 13 and a half years in prison. Nathan Clark, Aiden's father, said in the Springfield Community Commission meeting on Tuesday night that he wished his son had been killed by a 60-year-old white man. I bet you never thought that anyone would say something that blunt, but if that guy killed my 11-year-old son, the incessant group of hate-spewing people would leave us alone, Clark said. The last thing we need is that the worst day of our lives violently and constantly shoved in our faces. Nathan Clark asked politicians, including Vance and Trump, who have brought up the son's death, to apologize. He said to use his son as a political tool is reprehensible. They can vomit all the hate they want about illegal immigrants, the border crisis, and even untrue claims about fluffy pets being ravaged and eaten by community members. However, they are not allowed, nor have they ever been allowed, to mention Aiden Clark from Springfield, Ohio. I will listen to them one more time to hear their apologies, Clark said. Clark said his son was passionate about gardening and researched different cultures to understand better the people he interacted with. He said he wants people to honor his son by living like Aiden, to applause from the city commissioners and the assembled residents. Did you know that one of the worst feelings in the world is to not be able to protect your child? Even worse, we can't even protect his memory when he's gone. Please stop the hate. All right. So.
There's something really messed up about having to make that. Right, I actually have to write that letter.
Well, he's making a speech. He's made a speech before the city council, not a letter.
Oh, okay.
This is him talking. You can watch the video.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's that, and some better news. This is about Jon Bon Jovi. This is in Nashville, Tennessee, who's been recently in the news for having Nazis march up and down the street. But this is good news from Nashville. Jon Bon Jovi, this is from People.com. Ingrid Vasquez. Jon Bon Jovi was filming a music video on Tuesday, September 10th, when he helped save a woman in crisis on the Nashville pedestrian bridge. On Wednesday, September 11th, the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department shared surveillance footage from the John Siegenthaler pedestrian bridge. The YouTube video, which has since been removed by the platform, showed the musician approaching the unidentified woman standing on the ledge. After a few minutes alone, the Bon Jovi frontman and another woman helped carry the woman in crisis to a safer part of the bridge. Bon Jovi continues to speak with the woman in crisis before they walk away from the area together. I shout out to Bon Jovi. Man, sorry, my mouth is not working today. A shout out to Bon Jovi and his team for helping a woman on the Siegenthaler Ped Bridge Tuesday night. Bon Jovi helped persuade her to come off the ledge over the Cumberland River to safety, the Metropolitan Police Department said in a post on social media. It takes all of us to keep each other safe, MNPD Chief John Drake added. A rapper Bon Jovi could not immediately be reached for comment. The musician was filming a music video on the bridge, which was open to the public when the incident happened, and he offered a helping hand. Bon Jovi's foundation, the JBJ Soul Foundation, routinely deals with people in crisis from hunger to homelessness, among other issues, so he has extensive training in speaking to individuals in crisis, People confirms. The JBJ Soul Foundation goal is to recognize the human potential in those affected by hunger, poverty, and homelessness by offering assistance and establishing programs to provide food and affordable housing while supporting social services and job training programs, according to his website. In February, Bon Jovi was recognized as Music Cares Person of the Year for his philanthropic efforts. Lara Sagara, an executive director for Music Cares, praised Bon Jovi in a statement after announcing him as the honoree in October 2023. His remarkable contributions to rock and roll have not only left an indelible mark on the music industry, but also in the hearts of countless fans around the world, Sagara said. Furthermore, his long-standing commitment to serving food-insecure and unhoused individuals inspires us all. We're looking forward to celebrating him in the many ways he has made a difference in the world. Bon Jovi's most recent album, Forever, was released in June. So there's your good news on Bon Jovi giving a shit about people. Back to you.
The bar is low. The bar is low.
Anyway, I sent you a video clip, another James Earl Jones. I don't know. It's about 2 minutes. So
yeah, I've got it.
It's the first movie I saw James Earl Jones in. Okay, in 1970. Anyway, but back to you.
And of course, he's the son of a hairdresser, right? That's Jon Bon Jovi, the son of a
Yeah,
hairdresser.
Bon Jovi's dad was a Marine and a hairdresser. There's a combination. Nice. Yeah.
Respect your male hairdressers out there, and I guess your Marines.
Especially if they're Marines.
Yeah, especially if they're Marines.
You know, he can kill you with bare hands, or give you.
They say.
I give you a. What's that?
Well, people always say, "Oh, you're a Marine. Could you kill me with a pencil?" You know, like I can kill you without anything, right? That's what you say. You're like, I can kill you without any instrument. I don't need a pencil or a paper clip or whatever the hell people say.
That's true. Don't kill anybody. It's not nice.
Yeah, it's actually illegal. Unless, you know, you're defending yourself. But I think you can take them out without killing them. You don't have to.
Yeah, but those people had plans today, so you're ruining their plans.
Well, speaking of violence, unfortunately, Mexico is going to have to cancel its Independence Day. Well, in Sinaloa is canceling its Independence Day celebrations and festivals because of all the cartel violence that's continuing. This is from the Mexico News Daily. In a move akin to canceling Christmas, as you know, Mexicans love a party, the state of Sinaloa has called off its Grito de Independencia festivities in Culiacan, scheduled for the 15th of September night, due to a cartel turf war causing a wave of violence in and around the capital city. The popular activities associated with the night of September 15 in many Mexican cities, a reenactment of the 1810 shout Grito of Independence in a formal civic ceremony, followed by a free downtown concert. Oh man, nothing is better than a citywide free concert where just anyone can walk in and listen to the music, and oh man, I'm sure it would have been such a great party. And now it's been canceled because of the damn cartels. Due to Governor Ruben Roca Moya said on Thursday, which was yesterday, the 12th of September, there will be no celebration, neither public nor private. Oh, if you start partying, you're going to get arrested, it looks like Rocha announced. We will do the grito basically in protocol here at the government palace, with the presence of the honor guard, the military band, and my cabinet exclusively, without guests. Classes at all educational levels have also been canceled for the remainder of the week. The cancellations apply to the municipality of Culiacan, where the state capital is located. They also apply to the municipalities Elota, Cosala, and San Ignacio. Rocha said the decision was made to protect the population's safety in wake of dangerous shootouts, blockades, and intentionally set fires. And that all you need is some cartel gang war to break out in the middle of the concert, and then it's ruined for everybody, and other people are getting shot or getting hurt, and it's really tragic. Rocha said the decision was made. Oh yeah, sorry, I said that already. What usually is the free 7 p.m. concert was scheduled to be headlined by 9-time Grammy and Latin Grammy Award winner Pepe Aguilar, a Mexican fan favorite in the mariachi, ranchera, and norteño genres. What a shame. He was to perform along with his daughter Angela and son Leonardo, themselves recording stars with several Grammy and Latin Grammy nominations between them. However, since Monday, which was the 9th of September, exactly 1 week before the Independence Day on September 16th, Culiacan has been engulfed in violence, which I think we've already talked about, stemming from a turf war between Los Mayos and Los Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa cartel. The violence is occurring a month and a half after the much ballyhooed arrest of Ismael El Mayo Zambada on U.S. soil. The alleged Los Mayos leader was reportedly abducted and surreptitiously flown from Sinaloa to an airport outside El Paso, Texas, in an operation said to be spearheaded by Joaquin Guzman Lopez, the son of former drug lord and current U.S. convict Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. So this turf war has basically ruined their celebrations because they just won't stop. I'm guessing they're trying to take over their territory. The Los Chapitos are like, they got rid of their head of the gang. Let's go get them. We're gonna take all their territory. And it's like, can you do this like next week after?
Yeah, power vacuum.
Hello, we're supposed to be having a concert here, and you guys are fighting over drug lines that you wrote on a map somewhere. In response, the son of El Mayo reportedly gave the order to take Culiacan and finish off Los Chapitos. Oh no, so I was wrong. So now that they lost their leader, they're just like, we're taking them all down. Everyone, you've taken our leader, we're taking you all down. You're all getting wiped off the map. Los Chapitos is the Sinaloa cartel faction reportedly run by the sons of the imprisoned Chapo. 2 of those sons are currently in U.S. custody, Ovidio Guzman and the aforementioned Joaquin Guzman Lopez. So how many sons does he have? I guess they're too many because they're still causing gang wars. So all this week until Wednesday, the violence between the 2 criminal groups resulted in 9 deaths, 14 reports of kidnapping, 16 vehicle thefts, according to a report issued on Wednesday night by the State Attorney General's Office, FGE Sinaloa. Shooting and blockade shake Culiacan, blared a headline in Milenio. Gunfire, burned vehicles, and other blazes have been reported in several areas. There have also been reports of civilians taking up arms. Yeah, you know it's bad when it's like, okay, I have to get my shotgun because no one's coming to my house and causing a gang war in my house. Shortly after the July 25th arrest of Zambada and Guzman Lopez in the United States, approximately 400 members of the armed forces were sent to Culiacan to keep the peace. Well, I guess they need to send more. I don't think 400 is enough. They are now taking part of an inter-institutional operation of federal, state, and municipal forces trying to keep the population safe while the criminal groups battle out on the streets. This operation has been active in deterring some violent actions, but above all, it is reducing to a minimum the risks to the population from the action of these criminal groups, Governor Rocha contended. Yeah, I'm hoping most of these are kidnappings and vehicle thefts and deaths are due to inter-gang crime, and they have nothing to do with like other people caught in the crossfire. And that's the only thing I can hope for. It's really sad, but that's what happens when you're in a gang, I guess. This operation, many Culiacan restaurants and businesses, including Pizza Hut, McDonald's, and the Plaza Forum shopping mall, shut down on Wednesday because the violence was getting so bad. One report said restaurants in the exclusive area of Tres Rios were almost entirely shuttered, and that those still open had a few, if any, customers. Yeah, nobody's leaving their house. They could get shot or kidnapped or something. Tres Rios is in the section of North Culiacan considered as Los Chapitos' stronghold. Oh no, they're in the stronghold. In some areas, public transportation are halted since Wednesday. Residents expect the worst, that hell will break loose at any moment, Milenio wrote. However, the newspaper also quoted an unidentified woman saying, Yes, things are happening, not specifically here in Culiacan, but in the surrounding areas. But she added, people are afraid after what happened in 2019 with the Culiacanazo. What happened in 2019 to the Culiacanazo? Oh, it's when El Chapo's son was captured. And so he was this, and then he was later extradited in 2023.
Right.
Okay, so he was arrested in 2019, and there was a violent retribution by the cartel, the Chapitos. Oh no, sorry, the Culiacanazo. So they were scared that could happen again. So they're just not leaving the house because they don't want to be caught up in another retribution killing. That's when Culiacan exploded in violence following the Mexican government's brief capture of Ovidio Guzman. Authorities ultimately released him in an attempt to de-escalate the chaos and further bloodshed. A decision President Lopez Obrador took responsibility for after, saying he personally approved the recommendation to release Guzman by his security cabinet. It's like, sorry, we can't handle this crime, we just release him because they're killing people out there. Noting that citizens are once again threatened by danger, 14 former presidents of the Culiacan Chamber of Commerce, Service and Tourism, CANACO, issued a joint statement yesterday on the 12th, demanding that federal, state, and municipal governments guarantee resident safety. In light of the unfortunate events of insecurity that have occurred in the last 3 days, we express our deepest concern and dismay. The statement read, businessmen, workers, and citizens in general are experiencing moments of uncertainty and fear for our safety, which has resulted in an evident paralysis of the local economy. It is imperative that immediate and effective measures be taken to restore order and peace in our city, the statement said. We cannot allow violence to continue to endanger lives, jobs, and the economic future of our community. This was also with reports from Milenio and Rio Doce. So, unfortunately, Mexico is having a rough time of it. And, I mean, there's no one really to blame but the gangs themselves. And I guess, yeah, they just need to get more people out there to shut it down or have arrest waves. I have no idea. I'm not a freaking leader of a
starts with the government
unit,
not being corrupt.
Yeah. But it's unfortunate, and maybe they can have like a rain check concert. Because sounds like a wild party that's been completely and totally abandoned, sadly. That's my story.
The Wild Wild West.
Yep. On to yours.
The power vacuum that was created. That happened when we lived in El Paso in '97. The drug lord of Mexico was basically on the run because everybody was after him, and then he was having plastic surgery to change his appearance, and he died on the operating table in 19. I remember this because I attended all the briefings because that's where I worked. I worked in a military unit, and they would give you briefings. It's like, yeah, he died on the operating table, and now there's a power vacuum. So basically a gang war broke out in Juarez, right across the border, while we were living there. So you couldn't really go to Juarez and feel safe. Anyway, on to the news. This is labor news. China is raising its retirement age, now among the youngest in the world. This is from apnews.com. Starting next year, I hope you don't hear the dog barking. Starting next year, China will raise its retirement age for workers, which is now among the youngest in the world's major economies, in an effort to address its shrinking population and aging workforce. Right? Their shrinking population because of their low birth rates and low immigration. So they can't replace their workers. So they're going to make you work till you die. The Standing Committee of the National People's Congress. Imagine this. This is the old Sisyphus, right? You're pushing that rock up the hill. We're almost to retirement. We're almost there. We're almost there. Oh, there goes the rock. Anyway, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, the country's legislature, passed the new policy Friday after a sudden announcement early this week that it was reviewing the measure state broadcaster CCTV announced. The policy change will be carried over 15 years, which is the retirement age for men raised from 63 years and for women to 55 or 58 years, depending on their jobs. The current retirement age is 60 for men and 50 for women in blue-collar jobs and 55 for women doing white-collar work.
You have more people coming into the retirement age, and so the pension fund is facing high pressure. That's why I think it's now time to act seriously, said Zhong Peng, a senior research fellow at Victoria University in Australia, who studies China's population and its ties to the economy. The previous retirement ages were set in the 1950s when life expectancy was around 40 years. Really? That's really rough.
Wow.
In China, the life expectancy was around 40 years in the 1950s. What the hell are you people doing? Just eating lead?
Well,
the policy will be implemented.
There's a problem with spread of resources, right? So, like, people who are living closer to supply centers, right, were having a great time, and people living in the middle of nowhere were just dying of diseases and stuff because they couldn't get support. Like, there's a lot of places in China that are completely isolated from, like, a hospital, for example. So, I think that's probably why.
I'm just dubious about that number. 40? Okay. It's really young. And how did they gather that information anyway? The policy will be implemented starting in January, according to the announcement from China's legislature. The change will take effect progressively based on people's birthdays. For example, a man born in January 1971 could retire at the age of 61 years and 7 months in August 2032. According to the chart released with the policy, a man born in May 1971 could retire at the age of 61 years and 8 months, or in January of 2033. Demographic pressures made the move long overdue, experts say. By the end of 2023, China counted nearly 300 million people over the age of 60. By 2035, that figure is projected to be 400 million, larger than the population of the U.S. The Chinese Academy of Social Sciences had previously projected that the public pension fund will run out of money by that year. So yeah, if you got 400 million people are doing absolutely jack squat for the economy except taking a pension, that's about gonna drain your pension fund. So yeah, let's move the retirement age to 63. That's not really crazy talk. I mean, in the United States, we work people to death too, so we're even more than that. Our maximum retirement age for me is 67. I can't get my maximum. It used to be 65. When I was a kid, 65 was the maximum, right? Your amount of money you could get. So you wait till 65. Now it's 67. They've moved it to 70 for a lot of people. So yeah, they're just pushing you all the way to the grave without even being able to retire.
It's the same thing though. It's all based on your age. You can retire when you are because you're born in the date you were born in.
Well, there's a minimum age.
Yeah. Well, actually, I looked it up, and it was like people born between these date ranges can retire here, and then these people born in this date range can retire here, I think, and then they slowly are increasing it. Yeah, they are, like, by the time I'm in retirement age, it's probably going to be 90, if we're not all dead.
Well, if the Republicans get power, it'll be over by next year, and they'll just get rid of it.
Yeah, just like you can't
retire. The pressure on social benefit... That's right. They'll say, well, here's this 401k. They'll give you a lump sum buyout. What they'll do, here's your lump sum buyout. No, they'll get the 401k. You can transfer all your funds to a 401k. Give it to Wall Street.
Yeah, so they can lose it in another bank buyout or something.
That's right. Your money's totally not guaranteed at Wall Street whatsoever. Pressure on social benefits such as pensions and Social Security is hardly a China-specific problem. The U.S., we were just talking about, it also faces the issue as analysis shows that currently the Social Security Fund won't be able to pay out full benefits to people by 2033. Of course, they've been doing these studies for a year, and they're always wrong.
Yeah.
Because back in the early 2000s, they said, Social Security will be completely bankrupt by 2023. Well, here it is. 2024, and they're still pulling from the trust fund, and no, it's not completely bankrupt. Still, the trust fund is there. This is happening everywhere, said Yang Huang, senior fellow for global health at Council of Foreign Relations. But in China, with its large elderly population, the challenge is much larger. That is on top of fewer births, as younger people opt out of having children, citing high costs. In 2022, China's National Bureau of Statistics reported the first time the country had fewer than 850,000 fewer people at the end of the year than in the previous year, a turning point from the population growth to decline. In 2023, the population shrank further by 2 million people. We did that a few weeks ago, or a couple of months ago. We had 13 countries losing population, and China was number one. Country just bleeding people, almost literally. as their population dwindles and is not replaced either by births or immigration. Who's immigrating to China? You know, let's go to benefits of that pension system, maybe. I don't know. What that means is that the burden of funding elderly people with pensions will be divided among the smaller group of younger workers, as pension payments are largely funded by the deductions for people who are currently working. Researchers measure that pressure by looking at a number called the dependency ratio, which counts the number of people that are over the age of 65 compared to the number of workers under 65. That number was 21.8% in 22, according to the government statistics, meaning that roughly 5 workers would support 1 retiree. The percentage is expected to rise, meaning that fewer workers will be shouldering the burden of 1 retiree. The necessary course of correction will cause short-term pain, experts say, coming at a time of already high youth unemployment and soft economy. Some of the comments on social media when the policy review was announced earlier this week reflected this anxiety. But of the 13,000 comments on the General News post announcing the news, only a few dozen were visible, suggesting that many others had been censored. They're all cursing in Chinese or Mandarin. All right, another story involving labor. Boeing factory workers go on strike after rejecting contract offer. This is from AP News. David Koenig, Manuel Valdez, and Lindsay Wasson. Seattle. AP. Aircraft assembly workers walked off the job early Friday at Boeing factories near Seattle and elsewhere after union members voted overwhelmingly to go on strike and reject a tentative contract that would increase wages by 25% over 4 years. The strike started at 12:01 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, less than 3 hours after the local branch of International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers announced 94.6% of voting workers rejected the proposed contract and 96% approved the work stoppage, easily surpassing the 2/3 requirement. The labor action involves 33,000 Boeing machinists, most of them in Washington State, and is expected to shut down production of the company's best-selling airplanes. The strike will not affect commercial flights, but represents another setback for the aerospace giant, whose reputation and finances have been battered by manufacturing problems and multiple federal investigations this year. The striking machinists assemble the 737 MAX, Boeing's fastest-selling airliner, along with the 777 or the 777 jet, and the 767 cargo plane at factories in Renton and Everett, Washington. The walkout likely would not stop production of the Boeing 787 Dreamliners, which are built by non-union workers in South Carolina. So taking advantage of that cheap labor in South Carolina. I don't know. 787. And yeah, Dreamliners they call them, huh?
Dreamliners.
Outside the Renton factory, people.
Hopefully it's not an actual dream.
Outside the Renton
becomes a reality.
Outside the Renton factory, people stood with signs reading, "Historic contract my ass," and "Have you seen the damn housing prices?" Car horns honked and boombox played songs such as Twisted Sisters, "We're Not Gonna Take It," and Taylor Swift's "Look What You Made Me Do." The machinist makes $75,608 per year on average, not counting overtime, and that would raise to $106,350 at the end of the 4-year contract, according to Boeing. However, the deal fell short of the union's initial demand for pay raises of 40% over 3 years. The union also wanted to restore traditional pensions that were axed a decade ago, but settled for an increase in new Boeing contributions up to $41.60 per worker in employee 401k retirement accounts. Well, good on them. Get rid of them 401k rip-offs. Get back to traditional pension funds.
Yeah.
Just because the mob looted them back in the 60s and 70s doesn't mean pension funds are bad.
I mean, the whole problem with the government, how the American government works right now is that they put all of the responsibility on corporations to do it, right? Oh, you should have people's retirements ready. Oh, you should cover people's health care. Oh, you should do this. And then, of course, the corporations just used all those reasons to take advantage of the workers. So if the government just takes back control of the things that they're supposed to be doing to begin with, all this stuff wouldn't be happening.
The word corporations means you're actively traded in a market, so that makes your influence, what is it called? A conflict of interest when you're taking your workers' money and putting it on the stocks that you own.
Yeah.
Right?
Hello.
And again, they give you a chance of getting stock in the company too. One of those things that companies do. Of course, it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah, we're not going to give you a raise, but
it
here's
doesn't
some
cost them a damn
stocks.
thing to give you. It doesn't cost them a damn thing to give you stock. Not a damn thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, under the rejected contract, workers are received. By agreeing to build its next new plane in Washington State. Several workers said they considered a wage offer inadequate and were set by a recent company decision to change the criteria on which annual bonuses are paid. Toolmaker John Olson, 45, said he received a 2% raise during his 6 years at Boeing. 2%! Woo! You're doing a great job! Yeah, right. You expect the company to give you a raise on an individual basis. They'll sit there and divide you up. They'll go, that guy's doing a great job. And again, it's actually not illegal to ask your fellow workers how much they make. They can't stop you from talking about that. And you should form a union wherever you work. I wish I would have been more savvy back in the day. I would have got everybody. You can't just form a union. You can't just join a union, by the way. Oh, I'm a worker. I'm going to join a union. It doesn't do you any good unless everybody that works for your company joins the union and you can all collectively bargain with that company for a contract. Because just one guy in the union, they're like, go on strike. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
The last contract we negotiated was 16 years ago, and the company is basing the wage increases off wages from 16 years ago. They don't even keep up with the cost of inflation that's currently happening right now. Boeing responded to the strike announcement saying it was ready to get back to the table to reach an agreement. The message was clear that the tentative agreement wage reached with IAM leadership was not acceptable. Not by 90-some% anyway, right? We remain committed to resetting our relationship with employees, and very little has gone right. We can go into the Boeing troubles and drive their stock price down further, but this story goes on forever. Needless to say, they're underpaying their workers, underappreciating their workers, and saying that they got a 25% wage increase is not realistic. They're talking about crappy wages they were paying before.
Yep.
And let's face it, if you're building planes, you have a highly skilled job. Stop fucking with the workers. You need them.
I wonder why the planes are falling apart. Now it makes sense. Why would I check these bolts when they're not going to pay me anything for doing it? Fuck them. Happy worker makes good products.
I have a bad day. Who cares?
Yeah.
Fuck this job. 2% raise. 2% raise. Have you seen my?
Well, yeah, that one of the signs you were talking about, the protest,
evaluations,
reminded me of a post I saw the other day where somebody was going for an interview for a job, and the interview said, "Are you renting or do you own a house?" And then they said, in this economy, you think I own a fucking house? Like they're 20 or something, right? They're 25. You think I own a house in this economy, right? And then they said, well, the reason I asked is because if you're renting, it means you're not a permanent resident in the state and you could leave at any moment. It's like everyone's fucking renting. What the hell are you talking about? If you're not owning a house, you're not staying here. It's a stupid question. It's actually illegal to ask you that question if you are renting or own a house.
Yeah. When I was younger, filling out a rental application was just a formality. You were getting a place. Now it's like, oh my god, I hope I qualify for a rental. Like, really? That's a fucking
qualifying to live in a house. Yeah, ridiculous.
I know. I've gone through it. It's like, really? I gotta do all this crap? Just get out of here.
You have to do a drug test and a background check, and you have to have 15 references saying how great you are as a renter. You have to donate one of your firstborn children, and then you can finally live somewhere.
It's back to your story, by the way.
All right. For culture news, we are going to talk about Friday the 13th. Yeah, that's right. It's today, Friday the 13th, and David Morquand on Your News Culture is going to tell us all why some people suffer from frigastricaidophobia, or as other people know it, the fear of Friday the 13th. I can't believe a scientist made a name for that. Frigastricaidophobia. Try saying that 5 times fast. If you suffer from it, you're not the only one, according to David. It's one of the most pervasive superstitions in Western culture, alongside crossing a black cat or walking under a ladder. All things I do every day, which is why I have terrible luck. And I also break mirrors. There's a broken mirror here. Broken many mirrors in my life. I spill salt all the time. So I'm just doubling, tripling, quadrupling up my bad luck. For instance, an estimated 17 to 21 million people in the United States are actively affected by phrygistricadiacophobia, named after Frigga, the Norse goddess after whom Friday is named in English. Okay. And triskaidekaphobia as the fear of the number 13. Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidic. I'm trying to figure out how you're supposed to separate this word to make it a word. I think it's Kaidecaphobia? Kaidecaphobia? Triskaideka. I'm going to say it's triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Yeah, but it's a K.
Right?
Not an X. But I guess you can pronounce K like X in some cases.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Okay. Some people refuse to fly or close a business deal on this date, while others refuse to leave the house. Some buildings skip the 13th floor, going from 12 to 14. There are dinner guests who refuse to eat at a table with 13 guests, and there are airlines who do not have a row 13. Why is the number and date considered so unlucky? The origins of triskaidekaphobia or parakevidecaphobia in some quarters. Oh my god, there's so many. The fear of the 13th.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Yeah. As the most superstitious are tough to pinpoint. The concept of the cursed number can go back to Norse mythology. According to a Viking myth, 12 gods are having a banquet in Valhalla. A 13th uninvited guest known as Loki, not Loki, the god of mischief, arrived and deceived Hodor, the blind god of darkness, into shooting Balder the Beautiful, the god of joy and gladness, with a mistletoe-tipped arrow. The superstition then spread south throughout Europe, becoming established by the start of the Christian era. Then came the story of another dinner party, the Last Supper, which was attended by Jesus Christ and his disciples. The 13th guest was none other than the infamous Judas Iscariot, the disciple who betrayed Jesus, leading to his crucifixion on Good Friday. But why the Friday? Going back even further in biblical tradition, Friday is said to be the day of Adam and Eve. They ate the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, as well as the day Cain murdered his brother Abel. Yeah, but Friday didn't exist like that. The problem with all of this is our calendars are Gregorian calendars, and I think at some point during the Roman Empire they added more days. I'm not sure. I don't remember when the 7-day week. When was the 7-day week?
The Romans changed the months. They didn't change the days of the week.
Yeah. I swear there was a time when there wasn't 7 days. Yeah, okay. The Romans started it 2,000 years ago. Okay, so in Babylonia, they didn't have a 7-day week, but Romans definitely did. There's proof that the Romans had it, but in Babylon, they didn't have it. Before it was the celestial bodies and the moon and the sun. So 5 planets and the moon and the sun.
It started
the
with
ones
the
that you could see in the sky.
Anyway,
so that's why we have 7 days, because the Romans were like, yo, we can see 5 planets in the sky and we have the moon and the sun. So let's make that, because that's how the world actually works. There's Venus. It must be Tuesday or whatever. Something like that. They use the planets as a determining factor.
Tuesday's Mars.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I can see Mars in the sky. Must be Tuesday. There you go. A more accurate depiction of what the Romans were doing.
Friday's Mercury, so forth.
But
Thursday. Well, anyway.
Anyways, so yeah, not sure if Friday was a thing, but according to the Bible, at least it was a thing. Beyond myth and religion, for many, the number 13 suffers simply because it comes after the number 12. Numerologists consider 12 a complete number. There are 12 months in the year, 12 hours on the clock, 12 signs of the zodiac, 12 labors of Hercules, 12 gods of Olympus. The number 13 is just irregular by comparison and also a prime number. Never trust a prime number. Can't divide it by anything. As for Friday, many believe that's been an unlucky day since the 14th century publication of Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, and on a Friday fell all this mischance. Fast forward a few millennia, and popular culture has not helped in any way. Thomas William Lawson's 1907 Friday the 13th tells the story of a stockbroker who creates a chaos on Wall Street. The German bombing of Buckingham Palace took place on Friday the 13th, December 1940. The ill-fated Apollo 13 moon mission, Friday the 13th, films the talking mask killer Jason Voorhees slashing to his heart's contents. All have contributed to giving the date a bad rep, but some countries would disagree. So in Europe, there's a variation. In Hispanic and Greek culture, Tuesday's 13th is traditionally considered an unlucky day. Okay, so Tuesday. In Greece, Tuesday is the day associated with Ares, the god of war, and the Greek name for Tuesday is Triti, or third, heightening the superstition since bad luck supposedly comes in group of three. Yeah, mirror, hat, spilling the salt, whatever. I think spilling the salt is a Greek thing or is an Italian thing. And add the fact that Constantinople fell both times on Tuesday in 1204 during the Fourth Crusade and on 1453 to the Ottomans, and you've got yourself a cursed day. In Italy, the number 13 is actually considered lucky, and it's Friday the 17th that has a bad reputation. The connection between the number 17 and bad luck goes back to the Roman numerals XVII. When rearranged, it creates the word vixi, which translates to as I have lived. The past tense, which implies tense. Okay, so I was alive, I'm now a zombie. 17. You know, Chinese and also has this. I think I remember what number it is. I think it's the number 7 or the number, I can't remember what number it is, but it's a number that in Chinese and also I think in Japanese sounds like the word death. So that number is unlucky in the same reason. And for Romans, an unlucky, it indicates death, and that's it. Humans are so superstitious. That word sounds like death. It's unlucky. Consequently, Alitalia, the country's airline, does not feature a row 17 on planes. Both Fridays and the number 13th haven't always been unlucky. Organized religions and misogyny silence paganism and the celebration of women throughout the centuries, thereby leading to the narrative of Friday 13 as an unlucky date. Oh right, because Frigga is a Roman goddess. So by being misogynistic, you say, oh, it's unlucky because women, I guess is what David is trying to say. In pagan times, Friday was believed to have a unique association with divine femininity, which loops back to Frigga. As a discerning mythology expert or Marvel fan will tell you, Frigga was the queen of Asgard and a powerful sky goddess, one who was associated with love, motherhood, and who could prophesize fertility. So that sounds like positive stuff to me, so what's the big deal? Therefore, Friday was considered a lucky day for marriage by Norse and Teutonic people. Regarding the number 13, it was a harbinger of good fortune for pre-Christian and goddess-worshipping cultures because it's linked to the number of lunar and menstrual cycles that occur in a calendar year. And then comes, of course, we can't go a day without talking about Taylor Swift. Swift considers her lucky number 13, and early in her career often performed with the number written on her hand. I was born on the... I give her a British accent there. I was born on the 13th. I turned 13 on Friday the 13th. My first album went gold in 13 weeks. My first number 1 song had a 13-second intro, she told MTV in 2009. Every time I've won an award, I've been seated in either the 13th seat, the 13th row, the 13th section, or row M, which is the 13th letter. Basically, whenever a 13 comes up in my life, it's a good thing. I think she just asked to be sat there. Hello, Taylor Swift. This is Taylor Swift's agent. Please seat her in either row M, section 13, row 13, or seat 13. So that she believes in this conspiracy that 13 is a lucky number again. I'm being cynical. Maybe the legacy of Friday the 13th can be written. After all, it beats trying to pronounce Frigga triskaidekaphobia. There you go. Frigga triskaidekaphobia. Good luck with that. I've had to pronounce it many times. Thanks, David. And that's my culture story for you. So I hope you have a good Friday the 13th, because for some people it can be a lucky day and not an absolutely abysmal day. On to this day in history.
It's also a day when they premiere the latest of the Friday the 13th movies, right?
Yep.
Usually came with a movie. I don't know if that still happens, but my God, they just kept running them out there. This day in history, which wasn't always a Friday, but it was always been the 13th. On the 15 on this day, the 13th of September, Swiss mercenaries attacked the French position near Marignano. The next day, they were defeated by the French and Italian troops, giving rise to Switzerland's policy of neutrality. It's like, okay, we give up. We're neutral. In 1759, British forces defeated the French in the Battle of Quebec, which took place in Canada, near Quebec. Strangely enough. 1848, American railroad foreman Phineas Gage suffered a traumatic brain injury when an iron rod shot through his skull and obliterated the greater part of his left frontal lobe in his brain. He survived with apparently no lasting physical damage, although some claim that his personality changed. Hey, Phineas, is that a rod in your brain, or are you just happy to see me? Anyway, it's 1857. Milton Snavely. His middle name is Snavely. You hate your kid if your middle name is Snavely. I'm sorry. Milton Snavely Hershey, founder of the Hershey Chocolate Company, was born in Philadelphia. So even though his middle name was Snavely, which I've never heard before, had to be his mom's maiden name, right? Snavely. Born in this day, the Hershey Chocolate Bar guy. 1886, African-American educator, writer, and philosopher Elaine Locke, remembered as the leader of the chief interpreter of the Harlem Renaissance, was born. In 1911, American singer-songwriter and mandolin player Bill Monroe, considered the father of bluegrass music, was born. Father of bluegrass. Happy birthday. 1971, a revolt in New York's Attica Correctional Facility ended after a bloody state police assault in prison, which 29 inmates and 10 hostages were killed. Attica. If you know that movie with Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. 1990, the law enforcement series Law & Order debuted on NBC television network. It's been on the air since 1990. That's, 34 years? The show became one of the longest-running primetime TV dramas in the United States. 2015, on this day, American basketball player Moses Malone passed away. I got this bobblehead back there. I have to bring up my Moses Malone bobblehead. Anyway, he died at the age of 60. He was a dominating center for the NBA's premier offensive rebounder during the 1980s, leading the Philadelphia 76ers to a championship in 1983. So he only made it to 60. Dang. Okay, featured event. In 1598, Philip III was crowned King of Spain and Portugal. Well, that's an interesting thing. King Philip III of Spain and Philip II of Portugal, crowned on this day in 1598, was virtuous in his private affairs but indifferent as a ruler and extravagant in his spending, exacerbating Spain's growing economic problems. Also, our featured biography is Roald Dahl, British author, born on September 13th, 1916 in Llandaff, Wales, and died November 23rd, 1990 at the age of 74 in Oxford, England. Other birthdays today. Arnold Schoenberg, American composer born in 1874. Shane Warne, Australian cricketer. 1969, Tyler Perry's birthday. Born in 1969, so he's 55 today. American playwright, actor, screenwriter, producer, and director. You know Tyler Perry? Medea, the Medea guy. Yeah. He also dresses up, cross-dresses, and Medea, and does all those movies. 1973, Fabio Cannavaro, Italian football player, his birthday. So there's your birthdays today. National days, quite a few things today. It's National Bald is Beautiful Day. And on the picture, they have a picture of a bald cat. What do they call it? A hairless cat. It's National Kids Take Over the Kitchen Day, so okay, idle the sharp objects and let the kids cook today, and make sure they clean up. Oh lordy! It's National Peanut Day. Peanuts. So sit there and get yourself a bag of peanuts, sit in the front porch, and just go nuts. Literally.
Delicious.
Sorry, go ahead.
Peanuts, delicious. That's all I said. Delicious.
That's right, going nuts today. National Blame Someone Else Today Day, which is perfect for Donald Trump. That's all it runs on, blaming. Doesn't never solve the problem. Just, hey, we've assigned blame. We don't care if it's really the cause, but hey, we blame somebody. National Blame Someone Else Day is the first Friday the 13th of the year. So I'm not really encouraging blaming someone else. I think that's kind of sad. Positive Thinking Day, which runs counter to blaming other people, but it's that today. So that would be more influential to me. Blaming people doesn't solve a goddamn problem. It never has. It's National Celiac Disease Awareness Day. So are you aware of that? If not, we'll make you aware of it. And it's Uncle Sam Day for some reason. I'm not sure Uncle Sam Day, that's just the U.S. guy who points his finger at you and wears the big old stripedy hat. But National Celiac Disease Day, those with celiac disease avoid gluten due to the immune response that damages the villi in the small intestine. Over time, the damage prevents the absorption of nutrients into the body. Grains such as wheat, barley, rye, and some oat products containing gluten. The destruction is irreversible, and the only known treatment is a carefully controlled diet. Holy crap! I'm aware of it now. Another thing to worry about.
No.
Maybe I can blame somebody. I'm going to blame somebody. That's what I'm going to do. So there's your thing. All you bald folks, sit on your front porch, eat peanuts, and blame everybody else while your kids work in the kitchen. But be positive about it, because it's Uncle Sam Day. All right, there's all your information for today. Friday the 13th. September 13th, 2024, on Before Peanuts.
All right, this has been Allison here from the Netherlands, where the sun is shining, but there's a gloomy, dark cloud approaching slowly. It's been raining 5 days straight, I think, at this point.
Not that.
So it's nice and cold. We will see you next week for our Mucking Fun Day episode, where we're starting a new see what happens over the weekend. So hopefully some good news happens and you guys out there have a great weekend. Have some leisurely time to yourself or have some fun. Maybe celebrate Mexican Independence Day for the people out there who can't because of gang violence. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And of course, turn on those notifications so you know when we post our video or go live on Monday. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed learning about all the stuff we talked about today.
This is the world's news, folks. It isn't easy.
No one is more comprehensive than us. I challenge somebody to be more comprehensive. Anyway,
you click on anybody's channel. They're talking about one thing only, and they do it for 25 minutes. Let's talk about the debate
for 5 hours. You can go watch.
It's always the same shit.
Yeah,
nothing new. It's never anything new. Let's talk about Gaza for 3 hours. Let's talk about the economy for 3 hours. Let's talk about the debate for 6 hours. Nah, they don't need that shit. You want variety.
Yeah.
Who goes to the smorgasbord and just eats pickles all day? Nobody. Okay.
Smorgasbord. All right, but that's our story here, or that's the rest of that's our stories for the week. We will see you on Monday. So here is our mic drop moment.
Yeah, I want to see my little old mama. Fried chicken, Jack. Ooh, can't wait.
One more question.
First ever film you ever saw him in.
His first starring role, yeah. He did this on Broadway first.
Oh, okay.
This is a Broadway play, yeah.
I can tell.
Jack Jefferson. Are you the Black Hope?
Well, I'm black and I'm hoping.
Answer him straight.
Hey, look, man, I ain't fighting for no race. I ain't redeeming nobody. My mama told me Mr. Lincoln done that. Ain't that why you shot him?
Oh.
The big black
Here comes his old.
I got you, you mother.
What you want here?
I'll show you what I want.
Hey!
His old flame.
You're crazy, you bitch! What's wrong with you?
leave my man be, girl. You don't leave him, I'm gonna throw you away. I mean,
Who is this?
Yeah, I got it from the chambermaid at the Park Royal Hotel.
That's his ex-woman.
No, I mean
one
the
that left him.
Get
actress.
your black ass out of here.
Get your black ass
What?
out of here.
See how you're smudging your wife.
She ain't no
What a line.
Common law. And I was coming home to Papa.
Ah, it's common nothing. Don't you papa me, girl. I'll papa you so you never forget it. I quit on you
Don't
when you
papa
cleared out
me.
of Detroit
That's a
with
great
me, the
line.
pimp.
Will you have a heart, please, fellas? I know you come after me, baby. I know you was looking.
Yeah, and you look out too busy to find you, girl. You're selling my clothes, my ring, my silver brushes.
Give me another chance, baby. I misses you awful.
Just don't come on with me, girl. Your Willie's in jail. You just smelling gravy here.
How you know where he at?
I'm from the jungle like you, baby, and I hear the drums. Tick. Give a 20 and cough that back.
Let's go, Carl. You ain't closing the book on me so easy, Daddy. You hear me, Gray Meat? Get it while you can.
Gray meat.
Let's go, God damn it.
Gray meat.
Fellas, I'm asking a man to man.
I love cloak.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.